If your eyeshadow and eyeliner routinely look like this, to where you can't see the eyeshadow you applied unless you close your eye, or your eyeliner looks like you've done this little curve, even though when you close your eye, it looks like a really nice straight line, then chances are you have hooded eyes and you might need to make a couple of tweaks to your makeup application. So today I'm going to show you how to go from this to this with just a few minor corrections. Let's get started. The first step is properly preparing your eyelid for eyeshadow and or eyeliner. And that is to use an eyeshadow primer and maybe a little bit of concealer. If you're just going in with concealer and you have hooded eyes and oily eyelids, you probably have noticed your eyeshadow and eyeliner break down and crease and look patchy by the end of the day. That's because this skin that's hanging over is rubbing on the lower part of the lid, and that friction is wearing off the eyeshadow or eyeliner throughout the day. So today I'm gonna apply the Sigma eyeshadow base because this contains concealing and priming benefits. I will list and link a couple more of my top favorites down in the description box. Just regular primers are also great, but today I want to use this one because it is a great 2-in-1 and it does last pretty well for me, even though I have super oily eyelids. So again, this is the Sigma eyeshadow base in the shade Ignite. It also comes in a pink shade as well, kind of a light pink shade. So if you have pink undertones, use that. I'm just blending this quickly in, and I mean, it literally takes like 30 seconds, but you're gonna be so glad at the end of the day that you did this step. I've let that eyeshadow base set for about a minute or two. You just wanna make sure that it's nice and dried down. And now the next step, this is what I think makes your eyeshadow blending a little bit easier, is we're gonna actually start at the brow bone highlight. We're gonna start there and then work our way down. Now the key to this, and I'm gonna go in with a matte cream shade, and by the way, I am using the My True Beauty palette. This was my collaboration with Dalton, and I'm using this Sigma E50 brush. The key to this is we're just gonna keep this right under the arch of the brow. If you have smaller eyes, you're probably gonna wanna switch out this gigantic brush for something like this. This is the Sigma E60. I'm gonna use this a little bit later on the lid, but you just want to go underneath the brow bone and bring this shadow down just slightly. And this is going to help us blend our crease color up and get a really nice soft blend. But it's also important not to bring this color all the way down and then not go over it with our crease color. I'll explain as we go to the next step, which is really important, and you're going to be doing this throughout this entire look, is you need to look straight ahead in your mirror. Mine's down just a little bit, but I'm gonna pretend it's eye level. You wanna look straight ahead and you want to relax that brow. Don't go like this just yet, because we're gonna go in with our crease color. Now, I'm gonna go into this shade right here, which is called Faithful. I'm gonna use the BK Beauty 201 brush. If you have smaller eyes, I would recommend the A502 from BK Beauty, Angie Hot and Flashy. You can see a difference, but you want a round, fluffy brush. But with your eye completely relaxed, looking straight ahead, you want to find this point that is above your natural crease. So if I'm lifting my brow, which is what I did in the intro of this video, I lifted my eye, I found my natural crease, which is way down here, and I applied the color here. Well, what happens is when you relax that brow, all of that eyeshadow disappears. So what we're gonna do is place the brush here, and because we brought that brow bone highlight shade down a little bit, we don't have to worry about there being like this big old glob of eyeshadow. You also want to choose a color that's about maybe kind of a mid-tone, nothing too dark. Like, don't go in with one of these colors, okay? You will regret it later. You'll spend all day blending. So all we're going to do is just, again, find that spot and tap it, okay? So you can see this hint of this shadow that's starting there. And now I've seen some people say you need to blend with your eyes completely open. No, you don't. You just need to place it. Then you can lift your eyebrow and start the blending, all right? And wherever you first place your brush, that is where the majority of the product is going to be placed. So that's why I start on the outer corner and blend in. So now that we had our placement, now you can lift your brow, you can close your eye, and you can fill in this whole outer corner. Even though it's going to be covered, we want it all blended. We want to have a really nice color here. And because we put down that eyeshadow base, this is all going to stay put all day long. So it's worth the extra work. So now I'm just going to continue to check in the mirror and make sure I can see that. And do you see how the more we add that color, the more this hood disappears? In the intro, it looked white and heavy and full. And now because we're adding that little bit of eyeshadow there above the crease, and we can actually see it, it's giving us the illusion that our crease of our eye is way up here. Now, another reason why I do like this brush is you can actually lay the brush on its side and just kind of use that edge to softly add more shadow and blend up towards the brow bone. Now I'm going to switch to the 206 from BK Beauty, and this one's slightly more pinched, and it's going to allow us to concentrate a little more shadow lower towards the lash line. Now, as I'm going along, as always, I will list and link everything, all the tools, the products, and everything. I will list them in the description box down below, but I will also leave a link to the Shop My app. That is the affiliate platform that I use quite often for most of my products that I link, because now they have a free app that you all can download, and all you have to do is sign up for a free account and follow me and all of your favorite creators. You can create your own list, so then you can keep your favorites list and your shopping list on hand at all times. And also it makes it so much easier because you can kind of see real time what I am recently finding, my latest finds. I've got shelves that I'm working on organizing, like my top favorite products. So I will leave that link down below. Huge thank you to Shop My for sponsoring this portion of this video. I have used them for a couple of years now, and they just continue to make things easier and easier, not only for me, but now for you. So there we go. We have been blending, and now look at how nice that looks. Okay, the next step we're going to do is I'm going to enhance a little bit of this inner corner, and I'm gonna keep this matte today. Very unusual for me. If you know me, I mean, I love my shimmers. You could go in with shimmer, but I'm gonna keep this matte just because I know some of you don't like shimmer, and I just wanna show you that you can get that glow and that brightness even with just a matte shadow. So do you see that made it look like this whole section is so much more open and bright? And I'm using that Sigma E60, and I love this brush. This was one of my first ever Sigma brushes I ever bought, and it's still one of my favorites. Okay, there we go. So do you see how nice and open that is? And now the final piece, which can go very wrong, is eyeliner. So I'm going to be using the Mature Beauty eyeliners. These are a new product and a new, like, immediate favorite for me. Gabby did an amazing job creating these. So I have 3 of the 4 shades here, and I'm gonna start with the Champagne Bronze shade. And a lot of times we get into trouble with eyeliner because, again, we start lifting our brow and closing our eye, and we start drawing the line, the imaginary line, towards the tail of our brow. That's what everybody tells us to do. But there's a few things you need to do differently if you have hooded eyes. So I'm going to tell you to start on the lower lash line first. And I'm using the Champagne Bronze color because it's a little lighter. It does have some shimmer in it, but it's a little softer. You can do whatever color you want. And I'm just going to softly smudge this on the outer corner. I love these pencils for so many reasons. And one is because they're so easy to blend and you have time to work with them. Also, they have an amazing slanted brush on the other end, so you don't even have to invest in a new angled brush. But I do have a couple of other brushes I'll show you and list down below and put in my shop in case you don't have this eyeliner. Okay, so we did that, and now I'm gonna switch to the shade Chocolate. And Chocolate is a beautiful dark brown, but it's not a black brown. She does have a dark brown that's more of like a black brown. So chocolate brown it is. And now what we're going to do, again, relax that hood, relax your brow, look straight into the mirror. And we're going to go, do you see how low this fold on my eye goes? Okay, we're gonna pretend that the fold doesn't exist, but we're going to use that a little bit to our advantage. Okay, so place that eyeliner right into the corner of the eye. And with this eyeliner, because it's so soft and so smudgeable, I'm going to use the brush on the other end, but I need to put down a little bit of product. Okay, so this is where I'm at. I'm just placing that liner right into the corner of the eye. And now, instead of going up towards the brow, which is what is going to come down and make that weird curve, I have found it to look so much better to go out towards the temple. So out, still slightly up, so you don't want to go down, but just think of going more out rather than up. And do you see that nice little tiny, just that hairline of a line? And now you can close your eye, add a little more, and I'm working towards the lash line. And then I will use the brush to drag that line out. And I am holding just really lightly. Don't tug, don't do anything crazy here. Just hold your skin just a little bit taut, okay? Don't be stretching. You can't be doing that. As we get older, our skin doesn't go back if we stretch it out too much. Like that favorite pair of jeans that, you know, by the end of the day, we've got sagging knees. That's what happens if we stretch our skin too much. And now I'm going to take that on the lower lash line and just fill in that corner. And now if you want to add a little more depth at the lash line, I don't apply eyeliner to the rim of my eyes anymore. I used to, and I did a whole video on why I stopped. I'll link that up in the top corner, but I'm just pressing this liner into the top of the roots of my lashes. And then you can take that wonderful soft brush and use that to continue to work it into the lash line. So if you have hooded eyes, the next thing you want to avoid is doing a really heavy, thick line here, because we don't have a whole lot of real estate to start with, and we don't want to cover up eyeshadow. So if you're doing a really colorful eyeshadow look, and then you go in with a thick line of liner and you have hooded eyes, it's gonna cover it all up. So we don't wanna do that. So just continue, and remember, you don't have to do one solid sweep. We're just doing little dots pressed into the lashes. And then I can use this brush to further smooth it out. And remember, we haven't applied our mascara yet. So this is just going to make our lash line look as thick as possible. And then one final step is you can take a little bit of eyeshadow and go over the top of that liner. I only really usually like to do this at the very end, or the very outer corner here. That's typically where I feel like I want to just smooth out and blur that liner a little bit. And you can, if you want to just, again, drag that line out. And then I'll go in with a little bit of Faithful and just put this right along the lash line here, and it just creates a little bit of a shadow there, again making our lashes look a little bit thicker and that liner look a little softer. Once that's applied, then I just like to go back and fill in any gaps between the eyeshadow and the eyeliner. You can do that with the 206, or another one of my favorite brushes from BK Beauty is the 204. I love this little smudger brush, and you can use this just to gently tap in. And I am one who usually does not apply concealer until after my eyes are done. And then you can go in with a little bit of this and just fill in that corner. So we're making that corner kind of look like it has some depth there when it really doesn't. And then one final blend. And then I'll just add just a little. So you just continue to add to the depth that you personally want. And again, keep looking straight ahead in the mirror. After finishing up the other eye, I am now just cleaning up with a little bit of almond oil. And this is the step where you can actually fine tune the angle of your liner there and your shadow, and you can correct anything that has sunk below. So if you find that your shadow looks like it's turning down, just use your almond oil, or if you're using like a micellar water, you can use that, and then just use your finger and go up towards your temple to correct the line and get the proper angle. Now you might think we're done, but we're not. There's one more very important step, and that is mascara. The final step are the lashes, and it's really, really helpful if you first curl your lashes. This is the rougher eyelash curler in 20R. They also have an 18R if your eyes are a little more rounded. If you wonder why that makes a difference, I have a whole video about that. And yes, eyelash curlers are created differently, so there are different shapes. So if you've tried unsuccessfully with your eyelash curler, it might be because you have the wrong shape. There's also this little eyelash curler, which is really helpful, especially for hooded eyes, just to lift that outer corner up a little bit. Same if you have downturned eyes, which, by the way, I did not address the application of eyeshadow on this eye because this eye is hardly hooded at all, but it's downturned, totally different shape. I do have a video on how I even them out. So this little corner eyelash curler, you can just go right in the corner. Just be very careful, don't crimp until you're sure the skin is out of the way. And that can give you just that little extra lift on the outer corner. For mascara, I typically like to apply a black mascara on the upper lashes and a brown one on the lower lashes. So today I'm going to be using the Tarte Tubing Primer and the Tarte XL Tubing Mascara on the upper lashes. And on the lower lashes, one of my new favorite brown mascaras, this one from RAKUTEN Beauty. Fantastic, and it's just a little softer, but still gives definition to those lower lashes. Okay, hair is done, and now here is the finished look. And I'll show you with the eyes closed, but really this look is all about how the makeup looks with the eyes open, and hopefully you can see a big difference from where we started. Now, after you've applied your mascara, that is when you can go in and fine tune anything that you need to. Sometimes you may have the angle just not quite right here, and you can go back in with a flat brush or your eyeliner brush and just kind of go out, kind of follow that last lash that you have at the edge and go out. So you can always go and fine tune your eyeshadow or your eyeliner at the very end if you need to, but I think everything looks just fine as it is. So I truly hope that these tips helped you. Again, the main keys, make sure you are checking a mirror that is straight in front of you. If you don't have a mirror that's set up that high, remember you can always just bring in, the mirror from your eyeshadow palette or a handheld mirror and occasionally look straight ahead and make sure you can see that eyeshadow when your eyes are open, your brows are relaxed when you are applying that first dip of eyeshadow in the corner. Also, when you're applying your eyeliner, keep that brow relaxed, keep your eye open. And then once you've placed it and kind of have an idea of where things need to go, then you can look down and blend away. So just keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. So thank you as always so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.